Mr. President and members, today I rise to present Senate Concurrence Resolution 56, which designates May 25th as National Military Appreciation Month. This resolution honors the courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication to the men and women who served and continue to serve in our nation's armed forces. It is a call to unite as a nation in gratitude for those who defend our freedoms. Since 1999, when Senator John McCain and Representative Duncan Hunter championed the first National Military Appreciation Month, this observance has reminded us of the profound contributions of our military to our great nation. From the Revolutionary War to today's global missions, generations of Americans have answered the call, leaving families, jobs, and comfort behind to protect our American values and the American way of life. Many have paid the ultimate price. Everyone of their sacrifices are etched to the fabric of our nation's history. And if I can have your attention, please, Senators. Senators, if I may have your attention, please. We're honoring our fallen. We're honoring who served this great country. It is a solemn day this weekend, this day. Please, let's respect our veterans and our fallen. May I continue? Thank you, Mr. President. SCR 56 recognizes not only those on active duty, but also our National Guard, reserves, retirees, veterans, and their families. Over 90 million Americans who bear the weight of service. In California alone, more than 128,000 active duty personnel and over 56,000 Guard and Reserve members stand ready at bases across our nation and across California. Their work ensures safety, strength, and a global leadership, and upholds the promise of liberty and freedom and service to our great country. This May, we mark a key observance, Victory in Europe Day on May 8th, Military Spouse Appreciation Day on May 9th, Armed Forces Day on May 17th, and Memorial Day this weekend. Each event underscores the diverse roles of our military and it plays serving our country, from defending democracy abroad to supporting the communities at home. For example, our California National Guard has been instrumental in disaster response with a wildfire prevention, providing valued service not only in the battlefield, but to our state of California and to their families. As you all know, I served in the United States Army with the 82nd Airborne, and it's been my honor to continue my service as chair of the Military and Veterans Committee. I also want to take a moment to recognize our former members, military in our House. Senator Grove, thank you for your service and welcome home. Senator Menjivar, thank you for your service and welcome home. Senator Ehrenberg, thank you for your service and welcome home. I thank you and welcome you all. Thank you for your service. National Military Appreciation Month is more than a gesture. It is a commitment to educate our youth, honor our history, and to support our military families. It is a chance to say thank you, welcome home. To those who stand, watch, and live every single day to give us peace and freedom. I urge my colleagues to support SCR 56, to renew our gratitude, and to ensure our service members are never forgotten, their sacrifice, and those who've given their lives will never be forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Archuleta. Senator Grove, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today as a proud co-author of SCR 56, which proclaims May 2025 as National Military Appreciation Month in California. I'm deeply honored to speak on behalf of our service members and their families. This resolution pays tribute to the brave men and women who have served and continue to serve our United States military, heroes that have answered the call to defend our freedoms, often at a profound personal cost. For many, that service means that leave behind family members, missing births, missing weddings, missing celebrations. and they leave the comforts of home. For some, it's meant the permanent injury or ultimate sacrifice. Yet their legacy endures, and their liberties that we cherish in the promise of freedom that the future and our generations and the future generations will have the freedom that we see most valuable and cherish here as Americans. SCR 56 reminds us that our rights and our way of our life are not guaranteed, and they are definitely not free. They've been earned through courage, dedication, and the selflessness of service members. California stands at the cornerstone of the nation's security, boasting over 30 military installations and more than double than any other state, and hosting over 128,000 active duty personnel, 18,000 National Guard members, and over 37,000 reservists. Our nation's and our state's unique assets have diverse training ranges, vast restricted airspace, and deep water capabilities that provide California with an irreplaceable environment for military readiness. From the Naval Postgraduate School to 7 of the top 25 research universities, California's Innovation and Technology Academia equips our military with the tools and training to remain the world's finest. In my East Kern district, I have the China Lake Naval Air War Weapons Station, and they go and they have the top military researchers at that facility. They also cooperate with Point Magoo to provide us security and defense of our West Coast. Beyond the bases and technology, it's the people that our service members, veterans, and their families who embody the highest ideals of patriotism and sacrifice. National Military Appreciation Month honors over 90 million Americans, active duty personnel, National Guard, and Reserve members, retirees, veterans, and their families who have shaped our nation's history with unending honor and love and respect for our country. I respectfully urge your support of SCR 56 so that we may stand united this May in honoring those who have served, those that are serving today, and the families who stand side by side with them, praying for their safe return home, reaffirming California's deep gratitude and unwavering commitment to our United States military service members. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Grove. Senator Ochoa Bogh, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. I rise in support of SCR 56. As a daughter of immigrants who came to this country for freedom and opportunity, and as a senator for the 19th Senate District, a region deeply connected to our military community, this resolution has great and personal meaning. SC-19 is home to 3 pillars of America's military strength: the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center at 29 Palms, the Naval Air Warfare Center at China Lake, and Fort Irwin. These installations are not just bases, they're centers of excellence where the United States maintains its readiness, tests its capabilities, and trains some of the finest fighting forces in the world. Many of my constituents know what it means to serve. They know the sacrifices that come with protecting our country. They know the true cost of freedom. Recognizing May as Military Appreciation Month reminds all of us that honoring our military is not limited to a single holiday. It's a year-round responsibility. Our service members miss birthdays, holidays, and anniversaries. They leave behind loved ones to defend people they've never met because they believe in something bigger than themselves, America. We must never forget that freedom is not guaranteed. It is earned and re-earned by every generation of Americans willing to stand the line. This resolution is more than ceremonial. It's a commitment that here in California, we recognize, honor, and thank every man and woman who wears the uniform. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting SCR 56 and to stand proudly as Americans in gratitude for those that serve.
Senator Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I also rise in support of SCR 56. And as I've shared many times on the floor, my dad served in the Air Force during the Vietnam War. My grandfather served in the Army Air Corps before it became the Air Force in World War II and was a POW, and fortunately survived and ended up retiring from the Air Force in the early 60s. I want to thank the author for his leadership and the co-authors on this resolution for their leadership on this. And the author specifically, I represent MCAS Miramar, which is one of the most important Marine Corps air bases in the world. And I'll say that because it's in my district, but it also is one of the most important Marine Corps installations in the world. And I just want to thank the author for leading a bipartisan group of legislators to come down and do a tour, not only of MCAS Miramar, but also some of our Navy bases in the Bay Area of San Diego. I also want to give an honorable mention to another veteran that was kind of overlooked this morning, and that's our very own Senator Stephen Choi, who was a artillery lieutenant in the South Korean Army before he immigrated to the United States, and he served along American helicopter crews patrolling the 38th parallel, watching for spies and making sure that South Korea was safe from communist invasion. But I think it's just an interesting story and a great story that we all should take some time to learn that he also has served protecting America in his home country of South Korea. Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for an aye vote on SCR 56.
Thank you. And Senator Strickland, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I too want to thank the author of this resolution. I want to thank him for his service to our country. One of the things that we bonded on right away when I first talked to him is he served in the 82nd Airborne. That's where my dad served, and actually he was at Fort Ord at the same time as my dad. See, my dad is my hero in my life. On his 17th birthday, he went to San Fernando Valley High School, dropped out of high school, and joined into the Navy. My grandfather had to sign the paperwork for him to go. My grandmother never forgave my grandfather for doing that, but then he fought in the Korean War, and after he was done the Korean War, he dropped out of the Navy and then did 18 years in the Army and fought in the Vietnam War. In fact, he served valiantly and earned a Bronze Star for valor in the Tet Offensive. It's the fourth highest honor that you can earn. And then after he got injured in Vietnam, he became a drill sergeant at Fort Ord Army Base. And that's where I was born. I was on the base when I was born. And you can imagine what it was like to have a drill sergeant for a dad. Every minute I was late, I was granted a week. That's why you see me here early all the time. My friends used to call my home Strickland because they were all very afraid of my dad. And candidly, I was afraid of my dad as well. But the one thing that my dad always taught me is it's up to every generation to leave the next generation with more opportunity than what you had. And I learned that from a young age, to fight for something greater than yourself. And I was very fortunate and lucky to have a dad who was a hero. He's no longer with us, but I want to thank the author because, you know, I hate to say this, you remind me of my dad. You're not that old, but, I want to thank everybody who wears this country's uniform because freedom is not free. We're here arguing, debating all the time. But at the end of the day, we have our liberties and our freedoms, and we're able to do what we do today because of those before us. And they fought for a greater generation. And our hope is at our time that we're here today, as we fight for the next generation, that I learned from my dad, that we can have more opportunity in the next generation than what we had growing up. And I want to thank my dad for his service. I want to thank every soldier, every military member for their service. And this weekend, a lot of folks are going to just be talking about, you know, going with their families to the beaches and stuff, having the weekend with their family. But I hope everybody reflects freedom is not free, and those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. My dad was fortunate. He got to come home to his family. Many of those soldiers and military personnel did not have that opportunity. And so my heart goes out to all the families who lost a loved one. And this weekend, I'm proud that I'm going to be speaking at a lot of different services. And I just want to thank again the author for bringing this forward, because it's a very important item that we always remember those who fought before us and gave us our freedoms. And thank you for your service. And thanks to all the members for your service to our country. Thank you.
And with your father as a drill sergeant, we now know why you're so well behaved. Senator Choi, you are recognized.
Thank you, President and the members. I rise in support of Military Appreciation Week and File 29. As a former military serviceman in Korea, as we we see our Memorial Day on Monday coming, all of the nation will be memorializing our military services who sacrificed for this country. And I'll be participating in 3 different occasions. And since our Senator Jones put me on the spot, I would like to also mention all the service members previously who served in the military, and especially Senator Umberg, who served in Korea in his uniform as a captain, I understand. As a proud American and a native of Korea, I carry deep and personal gratitude for the men and women of the United States military. It was their courage and the sacrifice during the Korean War that defended freedom on the Korean Peninsula and made it possible for war-torn country like mine to rise and thrive in democracy. In fact, I circulated my resolution a while ago commemorating June 25th, which is coming up pretty soon. The Korean War broke up. So this is a really appropriate time for me to say my deep appreciation for the service members who sacrificed their lives. We do have military U.S. Korean War participants in the city of Fullerton, and over 37,000 people who gave their lives. Their individual names are all inscribed in their marble. If you would like to visit the park and find any relatives' names, you can find their names in there. This is not just to commemorate the Memorial Day, but throughout the world, so many Koreans will appreciate all the American service members keeping the liberty and the freedom, not only in Korea. In fact, even at this time, all of the world, they are fighting so bravely. And this week, as young people across the nation consider applying to our military academies, I urge them to see not just a career, but as a calling. This American military services, they are not mandated to serve, they all volunteer. That is something that we need to recognize, their bravery spirit. And then I would like to urge you an aye vote for this SCR 56. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Choi, for your service to South Korea and by virtue of our allied relationship to also our country. Senator Archuleta, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank the Senate for honoring our veterans with such dignity and honor today. And with that, I urge an aye vote for SCR 56. Thank you.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Alvarado Gil, Archuleta, aye. Adeguin, aye. Ashby, aye. Becker, aye. Blakespear, aye. Cabaldon, aye. Caballero, Cervantes, aye. Choi, aye. Cortese, aye. Daly, Durazo, aye. Gonzalez, aye. Grayson, aye. Grove, aye. Hurtado, aye. Jones, aye. Laird, aye. Limon, aye. McGuire, McNerney, aye. Menjivar, aye. Nilo, aye. Ochoa Bogh, aye. Padilla, Perez, aye. Reyes, Richardson, aye. Rubio, aye. Ciarto, aye. Smallwood Cuevas, aye. Stern, aye. Strickland, aye. Umberg, aye. Valladares, aye. Wahab, aye. Weber Pearson, aye. Wiener, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Allen, Alvarado Gil, Caballero, aye. Daly, McGuire, Padilla, aye. Reyes,
Ayes 35, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. Now, returning to motions and resolutions, members, we will. First committee announcement. I apologize for skipping over that because I know that we are all in suspense to hear Senator Caballero's announcement. Senator Caballero, are you prepared?
I understand there's a meeting.
So there is.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Appropriations Committee will be meeting in room 2200 of the O Street within 10 minutes of the adjournment.
Thank you. And now, members, returning to motions and resolution, we will now acknowledge 53 fallen active duty Californians in honor of Memorial Day. Please all rise for the presentation by Senators Grove and Menjivar. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm so thankful that we just voted on the SCR by the good senator from Downey, and I appreciate my colleagues' patience as we read the 53 names, California residents that have passed away in the past year since last year's Memorial Day. These are individuals that lost their life, not just in combat and training exercises, who lost their battle returning home due to PTSD and other mental health illnesses. We will be reading off the names, the service, the rank, and the home of record. You might hear your city be mentioned, and my challenge to each and every one of you is to at least remember one name during this long weekend. As you go to every single Memorial Day event, you might barbecue, at least remember one name and say one name and share their story. On every single colleague's desk, you'll find the poppy flower that some of you have already put on. Also ask that you wear that this weekend in memory of lest we forget the names. You will also find a challenge coin that is given to individuals as a challenge to do better and be better in life. Albert Elias Tuang Margalos, Navy, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Milpitas. Victor Manuel Bello, Army, Private, Winchester. Raymond Cisneros, Air Force, Senior Airman, San Diego. Eric William Solis Escobar, Army Sergeant, San Fernando. Daniel Raul Garcia, Air Force, Senior Airman, Oxnard. Willie H. Fraser II, Space Force, Chief Master Sergeant, Lancaster. Paul Nathaniel Harrison, Navy, Petty Officer, 1st Class, Murrieta. Hao Yu Lee, Army, Chief Warrant Officer, 3, San Francisco. Tyler Alexander Napier, Navy, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Bakersfield. Nicholas Francisco Padilla, Army, Specialist, Victorville. Brylan and Dulin R. Roma, Army, Specialist, San Bruno. Kai Drew Vang, Air Force, Airman, Sacramento. Benigno Gutierrez Zacarias, Marine Corps, Private 1st Class, Thermal. Magdiel Lemus Mora, Army, Private 1st Class, Antioch. Marvin Odum Evans, Army, Warrant Officer 1, Santee. Jonathan Christopher Hardy, Navy, Lieutenant, Santee. Taylor Allen Holas, Army, Sergeant, Ramona. Spencer Louise Babcock, Navy, Petty Officer, 2nd Class, San Jose. Christopher Robin Toki, Navy, Commander, Stockton. Jeffrey Eidemann Aco, Navy, Lieutenant, Granada Hills. Jacob Robert Venegas, Air Force, Technical Sergeant, Los Banos. Dominique Besu Neal, Marine Corps Colonel, San Francisco. Ryan Marquise Williamson White, Navy, Chief Petty Officer, San Diego. Werit Kritaluku, Air Force, Senior Airman, Oxnard. Matthew Andres Perez, Army Specialist, Whittier. Justin Robert Favor, Marine Corps Lance Corporal, Orland, and Landon Paul Polk, Army Specialist, Napa Valley. Mr. President, I'd like to now turn over to my colleague who will read the rest of the names.
Senator Grove, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, will continue with the name reading of those that lost their life this year. Bailey Bazidi, Air Force, Staff Sergeant, Oak Park. Alyssa Lee Kent, Navy, Senior Chief Petty Officer, Ione. Ji John Moon, Army, Sergeant, Buena Park. Serena Nicole Weilman, Navy, Lieutenant, Sacramento. Lindsay Paige Evans, Navy, Lieutenant Commander, Palmdale. Manuel Juan Dominguez, Navy, Lieutenant Commander, San Pedro. Kendra Ruth McDaniel, Navy, Seaman Apprentice, Palm Springs. Jolie Jeffrey Pamlona, Army, Sergeant, Bellflower. Noah Isaiah Fachundu Gutierrez, Marine Corps, Lance Corporal, Madera. Miguel Angel Garcia, Army, Master Sergeant, Reseda. Luis Alfredo Garrion, Air Force, Technical Sergeant, Los Angeles. Manuel Jose Alvarez, Army, Private First Class, Stockton. Ane Aron, Army, Sergeant, Stockton. Gregory Wayne Mosley, Navy, Chief Petty Officer, Placerville. Randy Ariel Loomis Torres, Marine Corps, Lance Corporal. Antonio Sebastian Lopez, Marine Corps, Lance Corporal, Colton. Richard Padilla, Air Force, Tech Sergeant, Pico Rivera. Michael Daniel Pearson, Air Force, Staff Sergeant, West Covina. Kendrick Journey Villarreal, Marine Corps, Sergeant, Anaheim. Kendrick Journey Villarreal. Jacob McLean Durham, Marine Corps, Sergeant, Los Angeles. Ronald Dean Braswell, Jr., Air Force, Staff Sergeant, Sacramento. Carlos Manuel Ramirez. Carlos Manuel Martinez, Marine Corps, Lance Corporal, Orange. Shin Need Kwan Tamsoon, Army, Specialist, E4, Vista. Jonathan Eduardo Becerra, Navy, Petty Officer, First Class, Alameda. James Daniel Herring, Navy, Petty Officer, Second Class, Corona. Kevon Trey Kinney Boyd, Marine Corps, Corporal, San Bernardino. Colleagues, these are Californians from all over the state that have lost their life serving our country or after they came home and couldn't deal with the stress of what was going on and what they witnessed. I ask that you remember them, like my colleague said, when you go to your events this weekend, and just think about the ones that serve this country that you represent in your district, and maybe even possibly reach out to the families and tell them that they're deeply respected. Thank you.